Welcome back to the program. The United Nations mission in South Sudan Force Commander has visited Lirangu, an opposition-controlled area. He was briefed by the opposition military commander in the area on the progress made so far in the implementation of transitional security arrangements as required by the country's revitalized peace agreement. Lieutenant General Shailesh Tina Ika also met Lieutenant General Alfred Futoyo, the commander of opposition forces in the area, known as Sudan's People's Liberation Army in opposition.
The purpose of my visit was to interact with General Alfred and learn from him, to know from him the progress in the transitional security arrangements. He has told us that the food has been provided, the soldiers are all ready to move. The soldiers have been identified for the organized forces as well as for the army. Some part of the movement has already taken place, which is very, very good. The others are only waiting for transport to come and shift them to the training center at Maridi. So the outlook is very positive, very good.
Angolan billionaire and former first daughter Isabel dos Santos is speaking against a New Year's Eve court order to freeze her vast assets, saying the country's government is working to weaken her father's influence and distract from economic failures. The 46-year-old woman, named by Forbes as Africa's richest woman, rejects the corruption allegations leveled at her in the latest step of what Angolan authorities say is one of Africa's most successful anti-corruption drives. Dos Santos' assets were frozen on December 31st.
There is a drive in Angola within the political party, within the MPLA, to neutralize President Dos Santos' influence in Angolan political life. And that really comes through conducting a campaign very much challenging his legacy. Recently, his image was removed from the Angolan currency, from the banknotes. So this is a very, very strong signal that has been put out there that his legacy should be altered. And this is really an attempt to influence internal political politics of the MPLA, not allowing for any other voices or any other candidates or any other possible factions within the party to actually rise up and take voice and challenge the current leader of the MPLA. Well, the allegations are false. Unfortunately, we were not given the opportunity to present our evidence or to defend ourselves. We were not aware of any such proceedings. We were not summoned. We never received any notices. I've never received a summons. My directors never received any summons or notices. So these proceedings were very much held in secrecy. We don't know exactly what are the accusations, but from what we've heard so far, we can say that the allegations are false allegations.
The Democratic Republic of Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi is expected to meet with a committee of students to discuss a dispute that ensued on Thursday in Kinshasa's university. Police in the capital had given students until the end of Thursday to leave the university campus and hostels after violent clashes left one policeman dead and at least a dozen students injured. 2 days of protests were sparked by a near doubling of tuition fees. A statement from the police said anyone still on campus after Thursday would be considered an infiltrator and an enemy of the people. Let's get more on this story now. Joining us is a Congolese journalist, Biobe Malenga from Goma. Thank you so much for joining us. Help us understand what happened yesterday between the police and the students.
Yeah, hi, is that yesterday the police was fighting with the students in University of Kinshasa campus, the one of the biggest university in the country. And they are just claiming that the fees will becoming high, and they don't allow hello?
Yeah, go on, I can hear you. Biobe Malenga, I was asking what the situation is right now what happened yesterday, rather, with the police and the students? Seems like Biobe cannot hear us. In the meantime, we're coming back to Nigeria to take a story on people living with HIV who have been described as true heroes in the face of stigmatization and rejection because of their status. Their struggles were brought to the fore during the launch of an antiretroviral therapy surge in Asaba, the Delta State capital, by the U.S. Center for Disease Control.
Mrs. Nkem Chooks and Mr. Michael Annie have been living with HIV for over 20 years. At the time they did their testing, the positive results to HIV came as a shock, leaving them sad and in despair. But today, theirs is a different story. While unaware of each other's situation at the time, they shared similar views about their situation and challenged themselves to live normal lives, even in the face of stigmatization and self-pity.
Immediately you test and you are positive, they are there to tell you their stories, and from there you can cope. So, but then there was nothing like that. So I did many funny things, but after everything, I thank God that I was able to. And today, I'm happy I'm an advocate.
The problem is, if you don't take your drug, if you don't eat balanced diet, then the virus will come up.
Recent data released by the US-supported Nigeria HIV/AIDS Indicator and Impact Survey revealed that there are approximately 1.9 million people living with the virus in Nigeria. Of that number, about 81,000 are in Delta State, requiring treatment. This informed the launch of the US-supported antiretroviral treatment surge to ensure that people with HIV live a long, normal, productive and healthy life and break the transmission of the virus. Identifying people living with the virus as true heroes, the Deputy Chief of Mission of the United States Center for Disease Control, Kathleen Fitzgibbon, pledges the continuous support of the United States to stop the spread.
If you have the virus and you're suppressing your viral load, you cannot transmit it to somebody else. 20 years ago, that was not the case. We didn't have what we have now. So being untransmittable means you've broken the cycle of the new infections. That is how you win the match. So already some states have surpassed the 70% population viral load suppression rate. And we're going to work with Delta states to make sure that we can do that. Our target is September 2020.
Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State makes a pledge of 100 million naira to fight HIV in the state, especially in the rural and riverine areas, giving a stern warning against fees charged to patients.
On behalf of the state government, I haven't realized that we have problems with logistics that in terms of travels in the right areas, and that there may, along the line, be some shortage of test kits. Because I heard Dr. Siali say what they have would last up to July. I want to commit in the first instance the sum of 100 million to support it.
He also announced that the state will soon promulgate laws against stigmatization and victimization. Detecting the virus is one thing, living with it is another, and experts advise that regular medication and treatment with antiretroviral drugs will help lessen the effects of the virus, something the U.S. Supporter Center hopes to achieve really fast.
Well, that's it on the program today and for the week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke. Have a lovely weekend.